25% of millennials find dates online, and they spend up to 2 hours a week searching for potential partners. That's a lot of people. But if you date online, you might have thought the number would be even higher because it seems like everyone on earth is constantly flipping through Tinder, rejecting hundreds of people after barely glancing at their profiles. 90% of our online dating actions are based on photos alone. And studies show that we make up our minds about someone in only 1/10 of a second. So what exactly happens in our minds when we make the decision? What makes us swipe right? Some markers of attractiveness are pretty universal.
Although there are things that people tend to on average agree on, so symmetrical faces are more attractive to people and faces that look healthy are more attractive, there's a lot of room for variation in how people judge the attractiveness of faces.
So why do some people look like an instant right swipe for us, while they may have a one-way ticket to left swipe city if they show up in another friend's feed? Dr. Jermeen found that each individual's taste is mostly shaped by what they've been exposed to over the course of their lives.
We looked at people who were identical twins and people who were non-identical twins, and even identical twins, so people who shared 100% of their genetic variation on average, they still tended to have a lot of disagreements about which faces are attractive. So what that tells us is that a lot of the variation is probably coming from people's individual environments, so the relationships they've had, all of those things that make even identical twins somewhat distinct from each other as they go through their lives.
So that explains how you and your friends don't always agree on whether a Tinder match is hot or not. But what other factors come into play when it comes to attraction? Some theories suggest that we're drawn to people who look like us. In one study, participants rated the sexual appeal of strangers based on photos of their faces. They also rated photos of these strangers' faces morphed with their own faces. Turns out, more often than not, subjects prefer the morphed version. How's that for narcissism?
Facial features that are familiar to us we tend to find more attractive, probably because of the sheer level of exposure we have to those sorts of facial features.
But online dating success can't just be boiled down to good looks.
In less than 1/10 of a second, we don't just judge a person's attractiveness, but we also form judgments about things like whether they're trustworthy, whether they're competent, and so on.
Chris Olivola, a doctor in psychology who studied online dating, found that we make assumptions about character traits and personality based on photos. These impressions have an influence on how many messages you receive.
So if you're a man, the more fun and outgoing you look, the more successful you're going to be. For women, the more smart and serious they look, the less successful they are, in the specific sense of fewer men are contacting them.
That may sound disheartening, but it's not the whole story. Experts say that playing up your unique traits helps you stand out and get the most messages. OKCupid data shows that those who some consider to be super hot and others consider to be just meh got more messages than those people who everyone agrees is pretty cute. So it's not all bad news. If you haven't decided to delete all your dating apps by now, what can you do to make more people swipe right? Here's what works on OKCupid according to their numbers.
For women, it really works if you're looking at the camera, if you smile, and even if you have a bit of a flirty look. By the way, that doesn't include a dog face. That's not good. Also, randomly, it's those photos that are taken outdoors, so when women are being active, or those that are in bed.
In bed. Right, ladies? That's really encouraging. But if it makes you feel any better, the results for guys were equally shallow.
For guys, it does work if they have a photo with an animal, and it does work also if they are shirtless.
Do you really need to resort to this to get right swipes? Not everyone thinks so, including Amber Marlowe, a professional online dating photographer.
These are my top tips for online dating headshots. Most people have their profile photo taken with a neutral colored t-shirt, so wearing a bright color like red or blue will make you stand out. Women want to be shot from slightly above, men should be shot from slightly below. For women, looking straight at the camera is really important. You want to be engaging right away. For men, you can get away with looking off to the side and giving yourself more of a mysterious vibe. One of my favorite tips is to show your shoulders. It's a good way to add a little bit of skin without being too racy. A fun bright red lip is my absolute favorite look for online dating headshots. You don't have to wear makeup in your profile photos, but you can put on a little bit of concealer, and this goes for gentlemen too.
Online dating may be a numbers game, but you don't have to get the most matches to meet someone you really like. And remember, whether or not you get a lot of matches says a lot more about the swiper than it does about you. Just something to keep in mind next time you're swiping left or right.